Paint is as old as man. Over the centuries, since he first daubed crude colour on the walls of his cave, his creativeness has brought newer and brighter pigments, more satisfactory binding media, has invented better dispersing and grinding machinery, and improved methods of application. Today, paints are much more than merely decorative. They have 1,000 uses, and each paint is carefully formulated to do its own job particularly well. There are the types of paint we know so well, those we use to decorate our homes. But there are many others, those to protect against weather, those to resist corrosion by the sea and fading from strong sunlight, to colour and protect our motor cars and commercial vehicles, for household appliances, kitchen equipment and furniture. The familiar typewriter and modern office equipment. Paint is all around us. No matter where we look, paint is everywhere. It even directs our traffic, road marking paints and painted signs. Yes, truly, paint is all around us.
Demolition and a clean start may be the ideal method of bringing the centre of a congested town into the modern age, with results that are often impressive. Covered shopping arcades, traffic segregation, trees and planted gardens, pedestrian precincts, fountains and fish ponds all add to the attractions of our new town and city centres. Although it is desirable, it is of course quite impossible to redevelop more than a small area of a town at any one time. What then are we to do with the other parts of the town, areas which are far from being congested slums, areas that have had great appeal in the past, are yet now look dowdy and depressed when compared with the neighbouring property, which is the latest and best our architects and designers can produce? A street like this, for instance, a street of long-established and high-quality businesses, and yet a street that, over the years, has lost some of its former attraction by careless planning, unthinking alterations, and, not least, by the grime of the town atmosphere. Is there no future for this in the modern age? The Civic Trust think there is. The Trust consultant architect surveys the street along with a designer and a photographer from the Colour Advisory Service of a large paint manufacturing company to see how the street can be upgraded and made more attractive by the use of colour and up-to-date cleaning methods. The architect has already formulated some basic ideas for the street's facelift. He has an intimate knowledge of the area, and, most important, his professional views are respected by the shopkeepers, whose premises it is proposed to include in the facelift scheme. Much improvement is possible with very little expense. To cut a wall in two by different colours without regard to the basic architectural layout spoils the overall appearance. Here's a particularly bad example. To spend money on a most attractive shop front and turn a blind eye to the grimy brick and stonework above seems to be a lost opportunity. A block of buildings with a certain architectural merit ruined by the multiplicity of colours on the windows and other painted features. An unattractive feature made more prominent by the use of the wrong colour. Is there really a shop behind all those signs and clutter? Only an optician could approve of a sign as difficult to read as this. Carelessly placed plaques spoil the overall layout of the door surround. With a little thought, careful planning, and a modest financial outlay, what can be done to revitalize this street, which is typical of thousands in our towns and cities? The designer's work is helped greatly by the photographs taken of every angle of every building during their initial survey of the street. These photographs, in fact, give a complete picture of the street that can now be studied and discussed in the quiet of the design studio, away from the noise and bustle of the street itself. In this case, two designers work on the projected scheme, supported and guided by the advice and suggestions made by the Trust's consultant architect. Every detail must be considered at this stage. No item, however seemingly small or insignificant, can be overlooked or ignored. Traditional house colours of long-established businesses and house lettering styles, for instance, cannot, in many cases, be changed. These must be considered, as must the new marble fascia that will be part of a new bank frontage. Colours must be selected that will blend in with this, and these colours must not clash with those used on adjoining premises in the street, or the communal appeal of the overall design could be spoiled. The designers gradually formulate their ideas, which slowly crystallize into a scheme which will revitalize and unify the street by giving it maximum visual impact. Now, black and white photographs must be transformed and brought alive with color. completed scheme is now put on display at the monthly meeting of the Civic Trust Committee. So far, the entire project has been in the hands of the committee's consultant architect, who has been in close collaboration with the paint company's designers, and this is the first opportunity the other members of the committee have had to see the proposed facelift scheme in visual form. It is usual that such meetings provide lively discussion, and this one is to be no exception. The paint company's designers are on hand to explain the reason for a certain colour being used here, another colour there, the cleaning of the brickwork on certain premises, the painting of the brickwork on others. The committee's architect is also present, and he too must explain the reasons for the various suggestions, and perhaps just as important, the cost of carrying them out. The committee members discuss the project informally as they view the scheme. Some have doubts and queries. Some have no doubt that this is the answer needed to revitalize this street, which is typical of countless similar streets in their own town and every other town and city in the country. The informal meeting over, the committee now assemble to formally discuss the proposals, and here again the designer must explain his choice of colours to questions put by the committee's chairman and ordinary committee members, of local townspeople, members of the Chamber of Commerce, representatives of the local brewery, art teachers, members of the local Rotarians, shopkeepers, doctors, town councillors, and ordinary citizens who all have one thing in common: an interest in the appearance and upkeep of their town. What a difference could be made in all our towns and cities if only their enlightened interest and enthusiasm could be extended so that all townspeople looked at their streets with civic pride. The facelift scheme is complete. What a transformation can be made by careful planning. What a difference can be made by a coat of paint. And remember, a coat of paint not only improves appearances, it also protects our property. Our property, if it is to be properly maintained, needs the protection of paint from time to time. Is it not reasonable to suggest that an entire street should be dealt with at one time? It's cheaper to do it that way in any case, and if only colours can be selected that will enhance the street as a whole, so much the better. As we have seen, the WPM Paint Division, through its advisory services, will give active support to keep our streets ahead with paint.